I want to tell this funny story of being almost a teenager with some of the homeboys that I grew up with. We were real good kids, but we were also real mischievous. So one Halloween night, me and my homeboys, we come up with this brilliant idea to go egging people's houses that we didn't like. Most of them were some of the older people in the neighborhoods that would talk shit or call the cops, do different shit to fuck with us. Like idiots, we're like, fuck it, let's go. So we start walking from our street to the closest park. We see people playing basketball, and just for the fuck of it, like assholes, we start throwing eggs towards the basketball court. Then from there, we take off running. We start going through the neighborhoods, start egging people's houses. The ones that we knew that we didn't like, we egged the fuck out of their houses. As an adult, I'll admit it's fucked up, but some of them deserve that shit. So we go on this egging rampage throughout these neighborhoods. It was a success, or at least we thought it was. We finally make it back. We get to our street. We're at the stop sign, about to walk close to our house. This car pulls up, hitting the horn like crazy. We see someone in the back seat. It resembled one of our other homeboys from the neighborhood. So one of my boys was like, "Oh shit, what's up, Pasqualified?" It was a fucked up nickname we gave him. I don't even remember why. It looked like him though. So he's like, "Hey, what's up, Pasqualified?" But on the passenger seat, this guy jumps out, and he looked like one of them old school Cholo OGs. Face tats, head tats, all that shit. Ben Davis pants up to his chest, but he hops out quick and he looks right at my homeboy and he says, "I ain't no fucking Pasqualified, Holmes. You know who you fucking with?" We all step back and we're like, what the fuck? Like, we didn't know who the fuck he was or why he was even approaching us. But one of my homeboys was closest to him, then it was my other homeboy, then it was me. But like I said at the beginning, me and my homeboys, we don't back down from no fight. But we're like, oh shit, this OG's trying to fuck with us. We thought maybe they were mistaking us for somebody else. So we get going back and forth, saying shit. And then out of nowhere, this guy jumps out from the back seat and he's like, "Y'all don't know me?" And we look and we're like, "Nah, we don't know you." And he's like, "Y'all motherfuckers threw eggs at me and I know it was y'all because I seen y'all and I see y'all here at the park every day playing basketball." And we're like, fuck, they got us. But the OG, he's the main one running his mouth. The other dude, he was like around our age. We would have beat the fuck out of him. But still, he had an OG with him and then he had someone in the front seat. And we just hear like a gun cock. And it was from the person in the front seat. So we're like, oh, fuck. We ain't no way we taking him against a gun. Us three against a gun. Nah, we're done. We're like, fuck. But the OG that's outside of the car, he pulls out a knife. And it was one of like the switchblade. Like he just clicks it, you hear the blade come out. But we all kind of, take a few steps back because we're like, oh shit, like the only thing we could do is hit him and run. But see, we knew that whole neighborhood, so we knew how to get rid of them if we had to, but we didn't like to separate. We'd be stronger together than separate. But right when we think we're about to have to fight, one of my homeboy's mom was coming out from one of the neighbor's house and she sees us right there. So she starts walking because she could tell something wasn't right. And she kind of knew, we were little troublemakers. But she comes up and she's like, "Everything all right?" And the OG starts telling her shit. She starts telling him shit, and she starts going back and forth. And she tells the OG, "These kids ain't even 13 yet, and you're over here trying to fuck with some kids. You're a bitch." And she just starts going off on him. I guess he starts to realize we ain't even grown and we ain't even teenagers yet. I was always the shortest one, but my other two homeboys, they did always look a little bit older. So after them going back and forth for a little while, we're still standing there because we're like, man, at that time, we didn't want to look like we were bitches, even though we did bring the trouble to ourselves, but still, we weren't going to back down and we weren't going to just let him make us leave. So the whole situation gets diffused, but the OG starts telling us, "One of y'all's going to have to fight my nephew. Y'all going to have to fight my nephew." We're like, fuck it. Who got to fight him? We'll fight right now. The nephew didn't want to fight though. He ended up talking his way out of it. But I guess he felt like he wanted to use his older uncles to fuck with us to make himself feel like, yeah, y'all can't fuck with me, but it didn't go the way he thought. But I remember after that whole situation, we're walking home and my homeboy's mom, she starts talking shit to us. She's like, "Y'all little motherfuckers need to stop doing the shit y'all are doing. Somebody's going to end up doing something to y'all." And even though it was so close, we were still like, man, we don't care. We ain't gonna back down, talking all this big head shit. But that's how we were, but it was just a crazy story. It was just something that I thought about recently when I thought about Halloween and the fun we used to have as kids. That was one of the only times we did shit like that. Other than that, we were always, pretty good kids, like to go trick-or-treating with our family and all that. But I remember too, after that, we're like, all right, we ain't egging nobody's houses no more. If we got a problem with them, we'll just fight them one-on-one. And if it's older people, we'll do other shit to fuck with them, but we ain't gonna egg nobody's house to avoid something like that happening. So many crazy stories as a kid and a teenager. But I'm going to end this with happy Halloween. I hope everyone out there has a fun but a safe trick-or-treating and a Halloween day. Peace.